when the majority of people are running one way, sometimes it's best to stop and do the fucking opposite. It's like question everything, because the masses, I don't want to sound judgmental when I say this, but the masses are quite stupid.
Yeah,
like the masses are not intelligent. Like the masses are not intelligent. It's just the average. So when the majority of people are doing something one way, question it. Be like, it's most likely wrong. And the right way is probably the opposite of what they're doing.
And there's levels to that, right? So for example, let's say you're an entrepreneur in this space, and then you see like the top 1% earners, whatever, in your space. If majority are doing something, there's still probably like, you could tweak it and go the other way and probably get better results and outshine and become like world-class or going to greatness as opposed to being just.
Well, the way you get to good is you copy everyone else. You copy success. You copy the success formulas. But the way you actually truly become great and become alive with what you're doing is you have to follow your own unique path and follow your X factor for how you're wired and how you're built, and to follow your mission here on earth. Because that's the thing that I found with, like when I was working with consulting, I took like over a couple of thousand sales calls, right? And with all the clients that we coached there and helped, like everyone just follows the standard model that Sam built for himself. But what people don't recognize and acknowledge is that Sam is a genius at that business model. That is his gift. That's his talent, is to build that entire business exactly how he did. And that's why he did so well. But then for other people to go and try and replicate that model, yes, they're going to get to a level of success, but they're never going to stand out. They're never going to be amazing by copying that model, because their X factor might be a completely different way of operating compared to what Sam did. Like my way of operating is different to Sam's. So for me to try and copy that exact model, I would just shoot myself in the foot right away. Because that business model doesn't sing with me. It doesn't make me come alive. But it sings for him. And this is all about just marching to the beat of your own drum. Because what happens is when we just try and model the success of other people, while we can take a lot of great points away from all of that and take a lot of learnings from them and like use parts of it into our own approach, the only way we're ever going to stand out is to embrace our own X factor. Because otherwise you're just going to be copying what everyone else is doing. And when everyone's doing it, like the definition of becoming amazing and a star is to stand out. Like you can't stand out when you're just in a crowd of the masses doing the same thing, because you're not unique. And people love people who are unique. People are like attracted to that. Why? Because they stand out from the crowd. Like you're going to notice the black sheep in amongst all the white sheep, right? They're going to look different. You're going to identify them. You're going to be attracted to it. And all the white sheep just look exactly the same. So be the contrarian. Be different. Think differently. Zig when other people zag. And then the more you do it, you'll continue to like align with your true path. And then once you like, it's a harder path to take, because it's a road that has not been navigated before. You're paving your own road, which is hard, but it's like, you're not here for any other reason. You're here to pave your own road. Embrace the challenge of doing it. I wouldn't want it any other way.
It's like me leaving the agency side of things,
yes.
Working for 6 years, or 6 years working with clients and doing this thing that is a skill set to make money, but it's not my thing. And I knew it was not my thing for a long time. I just did it. I did it.
Intuitively knew.
Yeah. And in the process, in the journey, I'm now like separating myself and trying to find my X factor and accepting the journey that I'm going through right now, separating that. And I'm still like swimming. I'm swimming.
Yeah.
It's like
And the
Nemo.
business
Just keep
model,
swimming.
you can have like a business model that is similar to others, but it's the goal to bring your X factor and your unique style of operating to that model. Okay. So like own it. If you've got a similar business model, that's fine, but own it and own yourself. And don't be afraid to like push the boundaries and test something different, to innovate. And that's where like innovation comes from. It's like, you've got to find what sings for you and just like slowly, or, just continue to pursue that path and that track, and you'll get there. But so many people are and I was bringing this back around with all the conversations that I've had with so many people in this space. So many people are just so depressed because they are so far away from their truth. They're so uncertain in their own shoes. They're so uncertain of themselves. They're so scared to be themselves and to, I guess, embrace their unique abilities and expose them into the marketplace. So it's safer to follow a model. It's safer to follow the proven framework. But you're never going to become amazing if you do so. You don't have to reinvent the entire wheel. You can model to an extent, but to truly like break out and really come alive, you have to find your own path. And that's the way we change the world. When we just copy and do more of what's already been done, we're just adding noise to the world. We're not breaking through. We're not creating something amazing. We're not standing out. We're not standing for our truth. And that's why it's important to get clear on your value system too, because your value system will drive your behavior. So if you just like value money in this world as the number one thing, then you're going to follow the model because you're going to want to get to that path and achieve the cash as fast as possible. But me, I'm happy with being more patient. And last year when I left consulting, I could have followed that model, the exact model, and not worried about taking all the time to follow and like really get clear on my vision and mission and absolute certainty and clarity on my purpose. And it would have worked. But for me, I'm okay with being patient and building from rebuilding my entire foundation from the ground up, because I'm in the long-term game. I know that we are in a much grander reality than what we give this world credit for. And I'm not attached to the physical material objects that most people are in this world, because I know life is much more than that.
But you would never feel like guilty for wanting something nice, right?
Nah, have fun.
Yeah.
Like, we're in this experience, we may as well have some fun with it. But I'm not attached to it, right? It's like, hey, would love to have it, but I don't need it. It's not going to drive my behavior. It's not going to dictate my decisions. So I will have fun with those things when I feel like it, when it's fun, but it's not the driving force behind what I do. Like at some point, who knows? I might fucking buy a Lambo, but yeah. It's not like I'm building a business to buy a Lambo.
Sure.
I would only do that because I like fast shit and I like driving fast. It makes me feel alive. Like I like racing cars, but I'm wanting to bring that into my life more. And that's all about life design. It's like, hey, if driving a fast car is going to give me a buzz and like make me feel alive and just have some fun, then why not? But I'm not going to build my life, and I'm not going to be the guy who's like, check out my Lambo, you should buy my course. Like, I'm not building my business on that framework and value system. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you find your own truth, like your energy is different. Your energy then rises to the highest vibration. And when you are trying to just do things to make yourself look good from a place of ego, people see through it. People didn't used to, because people were stuck in their ego. They were like, Lambo, I'll buy that because it must work. But not realizing, like, all right, well, let's look at the inner psyche and the psychology of this person. It's usually very off. There's something like pretty drastically fucked up in there. And I'm not saying fucked up, like everyone is where they are, and everyone is meant to be where they are right now. Otherwise they wouldn't be there. And we all learn from experiences, and no right or wrong. You've got to do you. You've got to do what makes you come alive. But just don't do things because it's the standard way of doing things. Don't just want something because someone else wants it. Do it because it makes you feel good. Like a while ago, I was kind of like, man, I just, going back to the Lambo thing, it's like, fuck, I don't need a Lambo. I wouldn't, like, I don't need that image. But then I drove one on a racetrack and I was like, fuck, that was fun. So then it's like, it made me feel good and it's fun. So that would be the reason that I would do it. Not to prove that I can make cash to sell a course. Because then it gives people the wrong idea. It's not what I'm about.
Mm-hmm. It's there's this thing coming to me. It's like having money to show people that you're making money, but it's not about that. It's not just about the money. Is that what you're saying, right? I'm
saying it's not about the money at all.
Okay. Just
like for me, it's about like finding your true purpose in life. And money is like the tool to help you actualize your mission, to create greater impact. Like I honestly just want to create impact. Like I gave death to my ego last year, where I don't need any material things. But it's okay to want them, but build your life around something greater than that. Because when you die, what happens to the Lambo? What happens to your cash? Nothing. But you carry your soul with you. You carry the realization of whether you actually pursued your mission and purpose in life or not. If you didn't, you're coming back to experience it again. We can either choose to actually pursue our mission here on Earth or not. And if we do, we'll ascend. If we don't, we'll have to relive the experience to learn the lesson. So yeah, this physical world is like, at the moment, it's pretty backwards because everyone's just following the trends. Everyone's just following what everyone else validates and thinks is like good. Like chicks just post pictures of tits and ass on Instagram to get validation, to get followers, because they need the attention. Same with guys in business. They just chase the cash because they think that by getting the cash, they'll be validated and accepted. But my value is not determined by my net worth. My worth is determined by me only, whether I am on track and pursuing my purpose or not. And if I'm not, I don't really like myself much. But when I am, I feel alive and I trust in the process and I'm okay with where I am. When I'm pursuing and executing on my purpose, I'm not chasing a goal. I'm not chasing an outcome. I'm pursuing the journey of becoming the best version of myself that I possibly can in each now moment. That was the switch that flicked for me. That was where I shifted from outcome driven and like the results driven to journey driven.
And if you don't reach the outcome, you're fine. You're totally fine because you're detached.
Yeah, because I have trust in knowing that like whatever is meant to be will be.
Will be, yeah.
But I'm going to give my full self to the commitment of pursuing my mission. And of course, I have intentions for the outcomes that I would like. Like I would like there to be fucking no sex trafficking in the world, right? Like that's an outcome. But right now, it's about the journey of expanding myself and expanding my own personal mastery so I can be of greater influence, to create greater impact, to build the resources necessary to create initiatives and deploy my resources into initiatives that I believe in and that I back. but you've also got to have some fun along the way too. And that's fine. Like everyone's on their own path. There's no right or wrong. Like you've got to do you. Because we get so caught up and stuck in like the day-to-day act of living that we forget that we can actually enjoy this. We can feel alive. It can be fun. But it's when we get in our apartment, we're just doing the daily work. Everything becomes boring, mundane. Life is meant to be exhilarating. Crazy, wild. Like there are things that make you feel that way. Seek them, find them, do them. But most of all, prioritize your internal development, the journey within. Because then you can respect yourself. And then you love yourself. And that's why we're here. Because when you're devoid of purpose in life, you're kind of just doing random shit that isn't really important. So it's okay if you don't know your true purpose, but as long as you're committed to actively seeking it and finding it and discovering it within you, that's all that matters. Because then when you're on the journey on track with pursuing your purpose, then everything in life has meaning. Because every interaction in everyday life is adding to your wisdom and intelligence for becoming all that you can be. And every area of your life contributes to other areas of your life to develop and grow and to become and actualize your full self, your full potential for who you actually are. But when we're off track and not following that path, that's when we actually limit ourselves in what we can accomplish and achieve. So what are you guys getting at, Reese? What are you getting out of this conversation?
I definitely like following your truth, because it's all in your heart.
Yeah.
It's like tuning into it, and that's the direction you have to go, and picking up on that intuition and not letting it, like if you get it, you should really follow it and not just go where you don't want to go, and really pursue it 100 and truly. And that's what I'm here to do, or we're all here to do.
Yeah.
And the moment you get away from that, a part of you, like you're just stunting your own growth, and you just keep coming back until you really do follow that.
Yeah. It takes balls to follow your own path, like fucking big balls, because you have to trust in your own truth. And you have to be okay with not getting validation from the external world with what they value. Like it is hard, like really hard, but that's the mission. That's the journey, is to realign with what is true and what's important. Hassan, what are you getting?
I think it's like when I get to see my truth every time, like it's funny. It's like we really need to be aware of our thoughts, and when I say something or do something, I have to be aware of my thoughts and what I'm saying to myself, or the story, or maybe someone told me something a long time ago that is not making me move forward into what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I could remember that song as a kid or my surrounding. It's like, why are you going to do that? What is that? What's the point of that? Like, what is this? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's all bullshit. My environment before, I was around that environment. I would say people that were close to me would say like all this infomercial or all these courses, all this stuff, meditation, subconscious. I used to study NLP and stuff. All that is BS. And that is so much like ingrained in my subconscious mind that I have to really be aware of it and reprogram it. And that's what I'm getting out of this. It's reminding me that I need to be aware that that other voice that is telling me, hey, what you're doing is weird, but it's actually my truth. I'm not sure if that made sense, but
It's not
it made
weird.
sense. Yeah.
It's only weird for the masses because they don't do it. It's uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
But our job is to become uncommon because we're finding our own path. We're not following everyone else. We're not doing what everyone else thinks is normal. Normal is mediocrity. Fuck normal. I'm not here to live any type of normal life. Normal is boring as batshit. Jeff, what about you?
Yeah, a lot. It's just, again, comes down to, like, everybody's been saying, your truth, and really trusting it, despite what the 3D world can seem like, or anything like that, and go out there and take the hard path, or be the black sheep, the black swan, and
Yeah.
that's exhilarating. We're not, I like the saying, God did not manufacture junk. We're fucking powerful beyond measure. So
Yeah. And each person here on this planet has a unique, like, honestly, a unique gift, a unique talent, a unique essence. And it's our job to find what that is and to express it in the world. And to use it to fill us up, and then also to be in service of our people.
yeah, and then when you start living in that, people, everybody around you starts changing. They start changing. I don't know. It's weird.
At the start, they might like be triggered by what you're doing because it reflects negatively upon them in a way, because it like exposes their inability to follow their own light. But once they come around, they shift, because we create ripples, like, because when you follow your purpose in life, and when you commit to at least getting on the path of pursuing that as much as you possibly can in this now moment, knowing that you will get clearer and more clarity over time. But when you do that, it creates a ripple. It gives permission for others to follow that path within themselves too. We're all yearning, like, you'll notice we're all yearning for this. This is probably the number one problem in the world today. We all subconsciously are yearning for this. We're trying to, because think about it, we're all seeking. We're trying to find something. What is it that we're trying to seek? What is it that we're trying to strive for and achieve? It's the inner knowing within. That's it. And why are we obsessed with like trying to like follow others and do what they think is important? Because we're trying to seek validation and acceptance from others, from our external world, to prove to ourselves that we are important. But instead of following that path, we can just acknowledge that, hey, yeah, we are important. I am accepted from the ultimate creator. That's what matters. I accept myself. I don't need your validation. I don't need your acceptance, because I am good with me. Because if I am reliant on your acceptance and your validation, my life is going to be topsy-turvy. One minute I'm going to feel good when you validate me. The next I'm going to be chasing after it to seek it again. But when you just learn to be okay with you, accept you for who you are, that creates the ripple. Gives other people permission to be like, just take a breath, chill out. Everything's okay. You are amazing. We all are. We all have a unique gift. Now get to work and try and find what that is. Remember it within you. Activate that part of yourself. Because then when we do that, we're all in tune. We're playing our role. We're playing our part in the world. And we're acting and we're vibrating at the highest potential. And when we're doing that, we create huge ripples in the world. And we all evolve much faster. we all then get to start pursuing our collective purpose in life too.
Right. I love that teaching you gave the other day, where we're not trying to create an identity. We're just peeling off the shit that's been put upon us that we've accepted as our truth or whatever. And so essentially, kind of like I meditated on that and felt kind of the conclusion that came is like, I am the man of my dreams. Like, I'm already that person.
Yes.
It's already, right. It's already. And it was like thinking about it, like, when does a vegetarian or when does a vegan become a vegan or a vegetarian? Is it when they decide to be it, or when they take the first bite of that freaking lettuce? To me, it's like when they decided, not when they bit the lettuce, it's like when they decided they were already that vegan. Yes. Before they even, just making that internal decision, finding that truth, and like going out with that power to the world and living it.
Yes. I didn't give up alcohol over a period of time. I literally meditated one day and I had the voice and it said, fucking stop. And I said, I'm done. I don't drink alcohol anymore. In that moment, done. It's like, because when it's like, oh, you know, we all try and sabotage yourself. And when you just make the decision in that moment, it's done. You don't have to think about it. You don't even have to think about taking another sip, because no, it's done. And that brings so much power, because then you start to believe in your ability. You start to believe in your own fucking word. That honestly brings the most conviction and power and certainty into your life than anything else. Standards. When you decide, you raise your standard. Your standards are literally just deciding to eliminate the things that do not serve you in your life for the greatest and highest good. And that's why it's important to know, like, not to know, but to continue to pursue at least getting clear on what your purpose and your mission is. Because once you do that, that's your commitment. That's your duty. That's your dharma in life. It's why you are here. So when you do things that are not in alignment to that, you leak out all of your personal power and energy. Because subconsciously, you know. You can't fool yourself. You can try to, but subconsciously, it does not work. Lies leak power. When you cut the bullshit, when you cut the lies, sorry, go ahead, Reese.
I was saying, like, so we secretly know inside what our true purpose is. And then if it just doesn't resonate, or if we're doing something out of alignment, we feel that.
And that's why if you pursue a path that's not meant for you, it'll be really, really hard. Because it's kind of like the universe is giving you hints. You're not meant to do this. Like, my football career was the hardest fucking thing I've ever done. I couldn't get past 4 games without breaking a fucking bone or like getting severe damage on my body, because like the universe was like giving me those situations to be like, injury, 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 injury. You're not meant to do this, not meant to do this, not meant to do this. But you're meant to learn from these injuries to wake your fucking self up to then make the decision to get aligned with what you're meant to do. The entire last year I was with consulting. Terribly hard. Why? Not meant to do this, not meant to do this, not meant to do this. Leave, leave, leave. But I ignored it. The more you ignore that inner voice, the more difficulty that arises in your life. Because you're fighting against resistance. There's a good resistance, but there's also a very negative resistance. Like, life can be more fluid and easy. You know, when you're swimming downstream, going with the flow of life, you're going to run into like obstacles and challenges and you're still fucking swimming, but it's much easier. You're going in tune and in flow with your natural essence. But when you're like trying to pursue a timeline or a path that is not meant for you, you'll run into all sorts of obstacles. You'll get hit with everything until you eventually give in and like surrender to be like, all right, universe, I'm listening. I hear you. Because the voice within, it'll start to be a tiny whisper. Give up alcohol. Don't want to listen. Give up alcohol. Don't want to listen. Drink, and then you start drinking more, and then you want to fight it. You want to combat it. And then the universe eventually goes, give fucking alcohol up now. And then you're like, I don't want to listen. And then, you know, like these things of resistance just keep on getting in the way. Until your life falls apart, and then you fucking start listening. For me, I got the whisper, start sleeping more. Last year, I was like, nope, I'm going forward. I'm going ahead. Start sleeping more. And then it was like, eventually, like the universe was like, all right, motherfucker, see how you go now. And then that's when I like called it quits with building out the challenge for you guys. I ruined myself, but I didn't listen to the inner voice. I continued to fight against it. That's how like things arise in your life. You'll know. When you plummet into depression or burnout, whatever it is, when you plummet into that darkness, it's because you ignored the voice for too long. And now the universe has to hit you with something to wake you up, because pain changes us. Pain creates the motivation and fire to change. So we can either listen to the internal voice and go with the flow of life where things are relatively easy, or we can destruct to the point where the universe is like, all right, I've got to do this for you now because you're just not fucking listening. And then whack, something's going to happen. Car accident, near-death experience, overdose. I don't know. It can, like, there's levels of extremity to this, but this shit happens. So the more in tune we get within our internal voice, we oftentimes can take a wiser approach and learn from the whisper and not the smack across the face. Have you guys had this experience?
Oh yeah.
Where
Many
you knew,
times.
you intuitively knew, but you were just like, ignore it,
Yeah.
ignore it, ignore it. And then all of a sudden, like, all right, time to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
The whisper within is real. We just don't give it credit, because as men, we think that intellectually we have to get it. And if the ego's in the way, it's absolutely going to suppress that inner voice within. But when you let go of the ego, you're willing to listen to the internal voice because you know it's your highest path.